encroach or duplicate or conflict with the mandate of any existing institution that we're referring to. If we take Federal Mortgage Bank, for instance, MRIF does not conflict with the mandate or the role of Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria. In fact, we are shareholders in Federal Mortgage Bank. And part of the discussion we've been having generally is the need to recapitalize the entities that have such pivotal roles, and Federal Mortgage is one of those that is under consideration for recapitalization, because we strongly believe that there is a need to recapitalize it so it can better deliver on its mandate. And this does not in any way conflict. If anything, it helps provide more liquidity that Federal Mortgage Bank and other mortgage institutions can tap into to ensure that they extend mortgage credit to Nigerians. Family Homes Funds, again, is a portfolio company of MOFI, and this does not conflict in any way. In the case where there is a need for them to develop any project or any houses, they can apply to the MRIF like everyone else, get an offtake guarantee that would allow them to raise financing to go ahead and undertake the project that they want to, so long as it is deemed to be commercially viable. So long as the houses they are going to build are houses people can actually buy and they can pay back through the mortgage program, it will qualify for that. Federal Housing Authority, as we all know, has a mandate to deliver housing units in different parts of the country, and they are going to different state governments to obtain land, to initiate projects to develop houses. This does not conflict with that at all, because we in MOFI are not going to be building any houses. MRIF or MOFI will not be involved in building any houses, so we don't conflict with what they're doing. Neither are we going to take the role of Federal Mortgage Bank. MOFI will not, MRIF will not be building houses. Will not, and I want to make that very clear. So what we are doing does not conflict with what Federal Mortgage Bank is doing. It does not conflict with what Family Homes Funds is doing. Neither does it conflict with federal housing. On the contrary, by succeeding in this, we're providing liquidity in the sector that makes up of government financing crowding in private sector, because ultimately we want private sector to be heavily involved in the housing sector for us to deliver the number of units that we want. But for that to happen, we need structures like the MRIF to attract private sector capital, because there are requirements for private sector capital as well as other international investors to bring in their money into that sector. If you do not have the right structures, that money will not come. That is why the MRIF structure is absolutely critical. But when that money comes in, it is to the advantage of all of these players. And how will that work? If we continue to put money in building houses and we don't have people who can buy them, those houses will end up empty and will end up with a lot of ghost cities and ghost towns. And there are, if we want to be honest, there are many houses. I'm glad that Senator made the point. There are a lot of houses out there that have been built by different developers, but they are still empty. Why? Because there are people who have the desire to buy those houses, but they can't afford to pay a lump sum for it. So whatever it is that they can afford, they can use that as a down payment, 20% down payment, and the balance of it can be financed through this program. So by invariably increasing the number of people that can afford to buy these houses. So we believe that this program is fundamental in addressing the point that was made earlier, that there are estates where they've built those houses, but the developers can't get their money back because they are not buyers. So we believe that this is actually one solution to that problem. If we take Federal Mortgage Bank, for instance, Your Excellency and distinguished members, Federal Mortgage Bank has been around for quite some time. We all know that. But the fact remains that it is heavily undercapitalized, and even the number of houses that Federal Mortgage can finance on its own is a fraction of the need that the sector has. And so whatever solutions that we can bring in to expand the liquidity in that sector and enable more houses to be bought is even to their own advantage for them to deliver their mandate. So our view is that this will help address some of those things that.
The ultimate was to bring the prices of houses down. So,